Patreon Q&A number 74. I want to thank all 119 of my incredibly awesome patrons, guys. You know I love you by now, or at least I hope you do. So thank you again. And to everyone else listening, there's going to be spoilers in these questions and answers, so tread carefully. Joseph K asks, hey, Shonen, congratulations on 50,000 subscribers. Wishing you all the best in the future. Hey, thank you so much, Joseph. I really do appreciate that. At the point Garou was in the last chapter, do you think that any of the S-Class, excluding Tatsumaki and Blast, could have knocked him out? So this is a good question. And it's difficult because, all right, so we're going to have to, like, set it anyone who's stronger or just as strong as Darkshine. So the candidates we've got are possibly Drive Knight, Flashy Flash for sure. Then we have Silver Fang, Metal Knight, maybe Atomic Samurai. And we won't throw King in there because obviously he can't beat King. So, and I don't want to scale Watchdog Man too high because there's just too many unknowns about him. So I would say that the best chance right here is going to be Metal Knight. I think Metal Knight at his projected full potential, we'll say, could probably take care of peak Garou that we saw in chapter 127. Because, you know, considering that he's, you know, I guess just as strong as Golden S, and then even stronger than that, he's like the highest dragon possibly. So it's really going to be super difficult for Flashy Flash to take him down, but I think that would be a really competitive fight. I mean, obviously he was no match for Awakened Garou, but he was able to push him further than pretty much all of the other S-Class heroes before that. So I think Flashy Flash would have a good chance, you know, after Metal Knight, and then Drive Knight, maybe, probably not, and then Silver Fang, he would obviously have to go Abandonment. And then even then, it's like, would he be enough to take him down? I think it would be a really good fight, like Abandonment Bang versus Peak Garou. But maybe it's not enough. We'll have to see what he's like in the manga. But those are the candidates right now. Acoustic asks, hey man, just wondering, what do you think the deal with Watchdog Man will be? Do you think there's a possibility he has undergone monstrification like a My Mask? When do you think he will be more prevalent in the story? Cheers. So I'm thinking that he's probably just like one of those inherently gifted individuals, like, you know, typical of the S-Class. Like, he's just really strong, maybe inherently, or maybe he underwent some kind of training with like a pack of dogs or something. Maybe they raised him. I kind of talk about this in my Watchdog Man backstory theory video. Now, it is possible that he's a monster as well. And it could be that Phoenix Man was kind of setting up that notion as to where maybe Watchdog Man has a similar, you know, power set to him, as to where like the suit that he wears, like the dog suit, monster-fied him in a way, and that's why he's so powerful possibly. I mean, that could be a little repetitive, but it also, like I said, could be set up. I just think that he's just like a genetic freak, pretty much like most of the other S-Class. Now, when he's going to be prevalent in the story, your guess is as good as mine. I was hoping that whenever the Neo Hero starts, we'll get more into him. Because, you know, it's probably going to be like the remainder S-Class and the Hero Association taking on the Neo Heroes, and that would be him. So hopefully that's when he gets some spotlight. But judging how the webcomic's playing out right now, it literally could be any chapter we just start going into him and his backstory. Chance asks, hi Shonen, I was wondering if you've seen Bleach. I was curious to hear your opinion on what disaster level his full hollow transformation would be when he fought Ulquiorra. So this is a good question, and that's one of my favorite sequences in the entire series, when we see Vasto Lord Ichigo. I mean, he's obviously ridiculously powerful. One of the strongest characters we've ever seen in that series. It's too bad that it never really comes back around to that form of him. I know we get, you know, more focus on the hollow within Ichigo and the origin of it and his mom and all that stuff, but I would have liked to see the totally berserk Vasto Lord form more in action. But considering how powerful its Sero was, it seemingly has some kind of regeneration. It's speed. I forget what the advanced stage of Shunpu is called, but it has that, which is incredibly fast. So he's definitely a dragon. I mean, you know, we'd have to see more of him, honestly, because Ulquiorra is really powerful too, but he's probably like a high dragon for sure. Dashy Dash asks, hey Shonen, new patron, absolutely love your One Punch Man content. Hey, thank you, Dashy Dash. One Punch Man has become my go-to series, and I love hearing your insight into the verse. I have One Punch Man questions for later, but I'm curious if you've ever read or heard of Beelzebub or of Kenichi, the Mightiest Disciple. I love those manga, but they both unfortunately ended around the same time and both suffered from rushed endings. It's been hard to find content I like since they've ended, but One Punch Man has been amazing. Anyways, thanks for all you do. Thank you again, Dashy Dash. So I haven't heard of those series. So I just looked them up, obviously, you know, from you talking about them now, and I read the synopsis on them, and Beelzebub seems pretty interesting. I like the concept of it, and Kenichi, it seems, you know, pretty bread and butter battle manga, so I'm sure that's good too. But honestly, just reading the synopsis, I'm more interested in Beelzebub. But it's really too bad that they ended so abruptly. That's like, you know, one of the fears that I have with the series that I follow. And so far, it hasn't come to fruition with, like, you know, the 3 that I follow right now. But I mean, I'll definitely put them on the list of things I check out. But like I said, I'm more interested in Beelzebub. But Free-Tshirts asks, yo, Shonen, I missed last week, but I do hope that the clown monster is in everyone's thoughts. I was wondering if the balloon ability would allow him to survive a punch or even a serious punch from Saitama. Do you think it could, or is there a possible limit to how much damage a balloon could absorb before failing? Have a fantastic week, my guy. Hope you're doing well. Hey, thanks, Free-Tshirts. I hope you are as well. So I'm inclined to think that there's definitely a limit to how much damage the balloon could take. Now, I know some anime series take the liberties of just saying that something would be able to negate or reflect anything, just like Seven Deadly Sins, which I'm going to talk about in this Q&A. But I mean, I really don't think that it could take anything. I think that would be a little absurd if it could take, like, not just a serious punch from Saitama, but even like a normal punch. I think that if Saitama were to punch him just straight up, not even using too much effort, it would just pop all 3 balloons and then he would be like exploded or something. I think like it probably has a limit of taking maybe just a little bit more than the power that My Mask was giving to him. I feel like if Darkshine gave him like a Super Ally Bazooka or something, maybe that would pop 2 balloons, maybe even 3, but like if he was able to just take 1 balloon for in exchange for like a serious punch, that would just be way too absurd and overpowered. I don't think the power system within One Punch Man can send just somebody like that high into the scaling and brokenness of abilities. Gunk F asks, hey Shonen, for the past half year, you've been my favorite content creator on YouTube, and I'm finally able to pay you back in the form of Patreon. Hey, thank you so much, Gunk. I really do appreciate it. I'm not sure if you're a fan of Hunter x Hunter, but if you are, where would you place Meruem, the king, in the terms of One Punch Man disaster levels? So I am a fan of Hunter x Hunter, but I just haven't made it that far into the series yet. I'm aware that Meruem is regarded as probably the strongest character in the entire series, so I'm going to assume at the minimum he's definitely a dragon, but I can't really give you any more than that because I haven't gone too much into his character yet. If you can't come up with an answer to that question, I was wondering if you think we're going to get a Awakened Garou fight in the manga. I'm hoping to see it before this coming summer. Thanks for all the great content you make. I'm really looking forward to being a patron. Thank you again, Gunk, and unfortunately, we are not going to see Awakened Garou before the summer. I think the soonest that we'll see him is maybe by December, maybe. But I think it's more safe to say like around this time next year. So yeah, it's going to be like 1 full year possibly before we see Awakened Garou like first. James D. Real Estate asks, hey Shonen, hope you're having an amazing week. Hey, it's pretty good. I hope you are too, James. This is my second question on the Patreon so far. I feel like part of the Z Pirates already. You definitely are, my friend. My question today is, who do you think would win in an all-out battle, no holding back, Boros versus Garou? So I actually have a video coming out about this eventually. I'm going to make my Awakened Garou powerful video first, and then I'll make that as the follow-up. And right now, I don't really have like a full answer to the question. I'm still working on it because I want to make it as good as I can, but I'm kind of leaning towards Garou right now. Now, it's difficult because, you know, we're going off of webcomic Awakened Garou, and we're going off of manga Boros. So there's like, you know, there's kind of like an unevenness to it. But given what Garou has proven to do, along with, you know, some speculation, I would say right now maybe Garou, but also kind of Boros at the same time. Sorry I can't give you a better answer because I'm not really too sure myself at the moment. Mellow asks, hello Shonen, who do you think could defeat Prime All Might in the One Punch Man universe aside from Saitama? So we're going to have to go to like above dragons only at this point because he's ridiculously powerful in my opinion compared to most of the characters in the One Punch Man universe. So it's like Tatsumaki, full potential of Metal Knight, Blast, Boros, and Awakened Garou. So 2 of those characters we don't know the potential of, like Blast and Metal Knight, so we'll have to exclude them for now. Tatsumaki, maybe, and that's a big maybe. And then it's like Boros maybe as well. But I think Awakened Garou, and we're just judging how powerful he could be in the manga, he would probably have a really good chance considering that he's, you know, has the Godslayer fist, which is more skillful than what that Prime All Might would bring to the table, but would his power be too much? Would Awakened Garou not even be able to keep up with that? Or would he be able to keep growing, and would that overcome him? Unknown at this point, but I think that maybe the manga equivalent of Awakened Garou would have the best chance. And then what are your top 3 favorite One Punch Man chapters? So chapter 36, which is Saitama versus Boros, that's probably my favorite. And then my second favorite is probably chapter 92, which was Orochi versus Garou. And then number 3, it's difficult to pick, but I'll say that King's Weekday Off, that bonus chapter. It's almost perfect. MemePriest asks, hey Shonen, how are you? I'm pretty good, MemePriest. I hope you are too. My question for today is, what disaster level would you give Bugs Bunny if he would challenge the Hero Association? So we have to take into consideration, like, okay, Bugs Bunny is pretty much omnipotent in his world. Or whatever reality he comes from, he's like almost unbeatable. I don't think he's ever taken an L, really, right? So him coming over to the One Punch Man world to take on the Hero Association, would he be able to bring his powers over with him? Unclear at this point. I would say probably not. So maybe he could use his charisma to win over the Hero Association, but challenging them in an all-out fight, he would need some serious divine intervention for that. Mr. Magius asks, hello, Shonen, you took my Patreon V card. I'm honored to take it, Mr. Magius. I don't know why I like hearing you speak. Sometimes I don't know what I'm even hearing. That's funny. But anyways, today you have a Pokemon and Kenichi, the Mightiest Disciple questions. I won't be mad if you have zero idea how to answer these questions. What disaster level would you give Pikachu? 10 million volt Thunderbolt B. I don't know if you watch Pokemon at all, but that's what I bought too. So I'm thinking that I did see the 10 million volt sequence. So that attack individually, like when Ash uses the Z Stone or the Z move on him to make that crazy attack, that is a demon level attack for sure, no doubt about it. But Pikachu individually is like Tiger level, and that's like a trained Pikachu coming from Ash. I think he's solid right there. As for the Kenichi question, do you think there is anyone in the series who could beat Hero Hunter Garou? Now this, I'm sorry, I cannot answer. I literally just found out about Kenichi in this Q&A. Somebody else asked me about that also. So I can't give you an answer to that, but feel free to ask some more questions next week, and hopefully I can come up with better answers for you. Nick M asks, hey Shonen, how's it going? It's going pretty good, Nick. I hope it is for you too. I've been a Patreon for a while now. I'm not sure exactly how long though, or if you've even noticed. So of course I've noticed, Nick. I always go over the list of active patrons every time I make a video, and I always see your name. You've been a patron for almost exactly 1 year now, so thank you so much. Anyway, I've never really had any questions to ask before, but I've always really enjoyed supporting you and all of your amazing content. It's always be able to make my day to watch much better when I see your videos pop up in my subscription box. However, I'm sorry to say that I'm no longer able to support you for a while, as I'm about to move out. And I'm going to have to try to save every cent I can manage to. However, once I'm doing a bit better financially, again, I'll make sure to be back right away. I swear. In the meantime, keep at it, Shonen, my man. You are always number one. Thanks for all your amazing content. Hey, thank you so much for your year-long support of me, Nick. I appreciate that more than you know. And good luck with your move, my friend. I hope everything works out for you. And even if you can't come back to the Patreon, it's all good. I just appreciate you watching my videos and supporting me at all. Ray K asks, hey, did you ever notice Koketsu is getting his head blasted by Saitama in the Season 2 intro? I just noticed that watching it and it came as a surprise to me. I was wondering if you knew about that, and if so, you should shed some light on it for others who haven't seen it yet. So actually, yeah, I noticed it right away. Like when Season 2 first came out, I examined the hell out of the intro just to see if there was any kind of Easter eggs or special kind of little tidbits in there. And one of the things I picked up on immediately was him knocking Goketsu off. So it's not, outright shown to be Goketsu completely, but it's more or less, showing that it is him. So it's kind of like a spoiler, but at the same time, it's kind of not, because if you've already read the manga, you know what's going to happen, and you're probably picking up on that being Goketsu more so than the people who don't know what's happening. Like if you're just coming into Season 2 after just watching Season 1, you don't really know to look for Goketsu. You just think it's like a random monster. Or, if you're really perceptive, you can kind of point out that like, hey, he has the same kind of shoulders and outline that Goketsu does, and then you kind of figure out, oh, damn it, I'm being spoiled. Rain Above All asks, what's up, show? Just wanted to express how cool it was when I ended up in your video and got my question answered last week. It's really awesome. Haha, no problem, Rain. I really appreciate your support. Anyway, enough fanboying. What did you think of the Jones versus Reyes fight? I'm one of the few people that thought Jones won fairly. I thought rounds 2 and 3 were more debatable than people were willing to admit. Dom was throwing a lot of flurries and rushes, but I noticed John went Ultra Instinct on him and was either dodging and weaving the shots or blocking a majority of them pretty handily, so I scored John winning those rounds because he was efficient, because of his efficiency, defense, and majority holding the octagon. Just wondering if you thought differently or not. It was a close fight, but I think people calling it robbery are going too far. Hey, I agree with you pretty much on everything. I thought, like, after my first watching that it could have gone either way, and rounds 2 and 3 were easily the most debatable, 3 being the more debatable, which I think is what really had people drawn in the middle there. But I really don't think it was a robbery. I didn't think that. I thought, like, at the end of it that, you know, it could go either way. But after watching it again, I was more inclined to think that Jones won as well. And a lot of your reasoning lines up with my own, honestly. I just think people don't like Jones, and that probably played into them wanting Reyes to win more so than him. Steven asks, do it? What are your favorite Ed, and Eddie episodes? Take it easy, man. So I barely remember Ed, and Eddie, honestly. I was so young when that show was around, but I do remember one episode in particular that I really liked, and that was the episode when Ed is like hired by Rolf, and like Rolf's like all weird and like really controlling and like super pedantic about like all the duties that Ed has, and like it drives Ed crazy, and like he starts like getting all weird and like almost like tries to drive a car and stuff like that. I don't know, I just remember that distinctly over all the other episodes. I thought that was so funny, that episode, and the way Rolf was acting. Too White for this asks, what's good, Z? You said last week that your favorite One Piece theory was that the 2 world trees were possibly origins of the devil fruit. So my question this week is simple-ish maybe. What do you think the top 5 devil fruits are? Not necessarily the strongest, but the best ones to have. Also, haven't heard a theory before, but the symbolism is there. It might end up being right on the nose. You got any Powerball number predictions this week too? I don't, but when I do, I'll let you know for sure. So I'm thinking that like the best ones to have are also kind of going hand in hand with what the strongest would be considered to be. And honestly, I mean, this straight up, I think that the top 5 best to have are the 5 best Logias. So we're thinking like, you know, Eneru's fruit, Kuzan's fruit, Kizaru's fruit, Akainu's fruit, Sabu's fruit. Those 5 Logias, like fire, you know, electricity or lightning, ice, light, magma, those are, I think, the best to have. But outside of that, you know, it's like Big Mom's soul fruit's pretty good. The Yami Yami no Mi, the darkness fruit, that's pretty good too, despite its weakness. It's one of the better fruits to have. And of course, the Goro Goro no Mi, the quake fruit, that's pretty good to have, but it's, you know, really, really powerful, almost to like a detriment if you're not good enough. But stick with the Logias. I would say those are probably the best to have. Legendaryus asks, hey Shonen, thought of a fight that sounded interesting. Take Naruto and his friends at the end of Kid Naruto series and make them all fight Class 1A students. The fight is Class 1A kids against all of the Naruto working as a team. So I assume that you're talking about pre-Shippuden here and not Boruto. So I'm thinking that maybe Class 1A would probably win. I mean, all of the pre-Shippuden Genin and whoever's tuning at that point, they're all pretty formidable, don't get me wrong. But I just don't think they're as have much as like variability and utility in the aspect that like the Class 1A students would have, especially if they're all working together. Now, don't get me wrong, it would be competitive. There wouldn't be like one washing the other. But I just think overall, Class 1A has more tools to get the job done, especially like the big 3 of that class. They're really, really powerful, especially compared to just like pre-Shippuden characters at that point. Just taking a guess. So that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Once again, I want to thank all 119 of my attractive patrons. Guys, I can't thank you enough for all this incredible support. It really does help me more than you know, so thank you again. And if you would like to be in next week's Q&A, just simply check out the Patreon. The $5 tier will give you access to this video, and if you haven't, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.